Good morning, students. First of all, a word of appreciation for all those who attended the last unit test. I was so happy to see your response. Majority of you wrote the test, and what made me more happy was the fact that many of you wrote the test without seeing. I'm sure there is a role of your parents too, but however, I'm really happy for you. Some of you got more marks, some of you got less marks, probably me, because you got less marks mainly because maybe I'm guessing that you wrote the test without seeing. And those who got out of 4, some of you I can see it, some of you wrote by seeing, some of you did not. So whatever, so congratulations to your try. Hope you'll be more serious in the future test. I expect 10% participation in the next coming test. I'll probably announce the dates so very soon with regard to next unit test 2. Okay, coming to the chapter, today we'll be discussing about the second chapter in civics, as I announced earlier. That is, we'll be dealing with the salient features of the Constitution. That is one. So in the second chapter we'll be dealing, third chapter we'll be dealing some more features. So in this chapter we'll be dealing mainly about the 4 features of the Constitution, 4 salient, the important features of the Constitution. First about single citizenship and about the universal adult franchise, that is voting, the right to vote. And third, and that too in detail, we'll be discussing about the fundamental rights, all of them in detail. And last part we'll be discussing about the fundamental duties. So in the previous chapter we discussed about the meaning of Constitution. The meaning is, again, I'll just repeat it. So Constitution means set of rules that regulate the power and position of the 3 organs of the government: the legislature, the executive, the judiciary. So the main features, as I said earlier in the first slide, so we are going to discuss the 4 features. It is for 10 marks question. At least any 3 features will be asked. You have to write at least 3 points related to each feature. For example, like sometimes they may ask single citizenship for 3 marks, then universal adult franchise for 3 marks, and fundamental duties or fundamental rights or duties for 4 marks. At least 3 each points, you will fetch 10 marks. Or sometimes they may also ask 1 mark questions on like what is single citizenship or what is universal adult franchise. So this is very important question. There are lots of 1 mark questions in the chapter. So as we proceed, I'll let you know the important questions for 1 mark as well as 10 marks. So the first feature is single citizenship. The meaning is there in the words itself. Single, one, citizenship. So all Indian citizens, irrespective of the state they belong, are the citizens of India. So whether you are Kashmiri or Tamil Nadu or Gujarati or Assamese, so you are all Indian. As opposed to USA. United States has a dual citizenship. For example, the citizens in New York, they have the state citizenship as well as the citizenship United States. And also United States also grants dual citizenship of United States and another country. So it has dual citizenship, whereas Indians, keeping in mind equality, so has single citizenship. So irrespective of state you belong, we are all Indians. So it's obvious, it's mainly to promote unity and fraternity. For the PIOs, that is persons of Indian origin, that means Indians but residing in foreign countries, the government in 2003 Citizenship Amendment Act has granted dual citizenship. So it grants for those people all the rights except the right to vote. So that's about the single citizenship. The second feature is universal adult franchise. So nothing but voting. So here there are 3 words. When you answer the question on it, you have to address all the 3 words. They should contain meaning of universal, adult and franchise, you will fetch full mark. So what is universal? Universal is not about the whole of universe, it means all. So all Indians, irrespective of caste, region, religion. Adult, that means all Indians who are above 18, franchise, that you have the right to cast vote. So what is the meaning of universal adult franchise? So all Indians above 18 have the right to vote irrespective of caste, religion, etc. That is the meaning of a universal adult franchise. Very simple. So but keep in mind, you have to address all the three words correctly. So earlier we had the communal electorate. So that was, we call it a joint electorate, it established by British. So all of you know it, British followed divide and rule policy. So they had joint electorate, that is so for Hindus had to elect Hindu representative, Muslims had to elect a Muslim representative. So this is mainly to follow the policy of divide and rule. Okay, so after independence this was abolished, and so we have a universal adult franchise. But there is an exception. In some places we reserve, the constitution allows for reservation. It reserves seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and women representatives. So mainly for social justice, to bring them up in the society. Otherwise we all have universal adult franchise. So that is the second feature of the constitution. The third feature, and the most important, the whole chapter mainly deals with this particular feature, that is fundamental rights. So what is the meaning of fundamental rights? So these are basic human rights. Why? To provide conditions which are very essential for all-round development of an individual. So that is the meaning of fundamental rights. It grants recognition, it grants identity, dignity to all the Indians. So where it is found? So it is found in part 3 of the constitution, especially in articles beginning from article 12 to 35. There is one more question on it, so where it is very important. So it is found in part 3, articles 12 to 35, covers fundamental rights. So what are the basic rights? Are 6. So right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. There's one more right we'll be discussing later. So these are the basic rights given in the, or mentioned in the constitution. So we'll be discussing each right elaborately. So we'll begin with the right to equality. So right to equality is found in articles 14 to 18. So equality in all form, in terms of society, in terms of politics, in terms of law, so all are equal. So that's the meaning of right to equality. So there are components, again there's a question on this. So main components of right to equality. So the first component, equality before law, article 14 to 15. Everyone in front of law are equal. So they are equal before law and protected by law, irrespective of status, whether rich or poor, caste, color, creed and religion. Law is same to everyone. So it prohibits discrimination. For example, so in case if anyone falls discrimination in education institutions, allotment of shops, etc., so they are taken into task by the law. So everyone follows right to equality. That is the meaning of equality before law. The second component, equality of opportunity, article 16. So equality with reference to job opportunities. Of course there are some, that means everyone deserves job here. So according to your qualification. But there is certain percentage of reservation for SCs, that is 15%, scheduled caste 15% reservation in jobs. STs they have 7.5%, and OBCs, other backward classes, they have 27% reservation. Again, this is mainly because to bring them up, it is for social justice. Third component, abolition of untouchability. So India suffered a lot under caste system for a long period of time. So since the constitution gives right to equality, it abolishes untouchability. Article 17, very important article 17. So the practice of untouchability is punishable offense. So it is still practiced, but if it comes to the notice of the law, it is punishable. Fourth, abolition of titles, article 18. So all are equal. So to provide equal status to all, so we have this abolition of titles. Like, so earlier we have princely states. So there were kings, queens, princes, and so on. So Rai, Raj, Bahadur, Maharaj, and so on. All these titles are abolished. There are kings even today, so the constitution abolishes usage of titles such as Rai, Bahadur, Maharaj. But there are exceptions like academic titles, like doctor, sir, and so on. Awards, honors, Bharat Ratna, Jnanapith, Padma Bhushan, sometimes they use in front of their names. So these are exempted. Otherwise, all are equal. So it's mainly to provide equal status to all the Indian citizens. Okay, so apart from this, right to equality is restricted in case of implementing directive principles of a state policy. About this, so we'll discuss in the third chapter in detail. So there are certain restrictions. So when it comes to directive principles of a state policy, we'll not bother about this. So otherwise, just remember, so there are 4 components in right to equality. The next right is right to freedom, found in article 19 to 22. So under this article, the constitution provides 6 freedoms to its citizens. First one is freedom of speech and expression. You are free to speak and express your views and opinions. Of course, you should not hurt others. Then freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. You can assemble anywhere, nobody can question you. Of course, it should be for good purpose. Third, freedom to form associations and unions. You can form any kind of association or unions. Again, that should be for a better cause. Then freedom to move freely throughout India. You can go anywhere, but there are, for each one there are restrictions. We'll discuss it later. Otherwise, you can go anywhere throughout India. Fifth, freedom to reside and settle in any part of India. You can go anywhere and reside anywhere in India. So freedom to practice any profession of your choice, trade or business. So these are the 6 freedoms the constitution grants to all its citizens. Of course, in each there are restrictions. Of course, they are all good restrictions. For example, wherever article 370 is imposed, so you cannot settle and so on. Of course, Kashmir, it was revoked. So now, of course, you can go and reside even in Kashmir. But there are some certain islands in Andaman Nicobar, certain hilly regions, you cannot go and settle there. Okay, there are certain restrictions. About that we'll discuss later. Okay, so that's it. Exceptions where article 370 is implemented. And there, of course, there are reasonable restrictions. Otherwise, you have complete freedom. Okay, so limitations. So there are certain limitations. So article 19, okay, right to freedom, so can be suspended during emergency. In case if there is emergency declared, your right to speak, to express is suspended. Okay, so in emergency in the sense war maybe, or some national calamity or something, economic crisis. So in such cases, so your right is withheld, is suspended. Second, limitation is not absolute. There are reasonable restrictions. Sometimes in terms of national and international security, your freedom will be taken away from you. So that's why it's not absolute. Otherwise, so nobody will disturb your freedom. Third, there are certain laws when they are implemented, your freedom will be taken away. ESMA, for example, Essential Services and Maintenance Act. When this is imposed, okay, so you lose freedom of speech and expression, for example. And when preventive detention is also implemented, again you lose certain rights. So these are certain laws. So whenever these laws are enforced, you lose your rights. Okay. Under right to freedom, so it also grants some protections. For example, protections in respect of conviction of offences. If you are arrested, you have certain rights. Okay, so what are they? So against a greater penalty, that what is prescribed. That means if you are arrested, what are your rights? You cannot simply go there and oblige to the law. You have your own rights. So what are these? First one is so against a greater penalty. If you feel that the punishment given is more than what you deserve, you can appeal in the court. Second, no one can be punished for the same offense twice. Okay, the only once you can be punished. Of course, if you repeat the crime again, you will be punished. Otherwise, you will not have two punishments for the same crime. Third, you cannot be compelled to be witness to himself. Of course, you can defend yourself with the help of a lawyer. Otherwise, you cannot be witness for yourself. Second protection of life and personal liberty. So cannot be deprived of your life and liberty except in accordance with the law. Otherwise, so you have full freedom to live your life. Okay. It should be in accordance with the laws. Okay, so you have complete protection in this regard. Third, protection against arrest and detention. So under ordinary circumstances, we have discussed this in the first part of protection. Again, there are some more specific rights here, so we'll discuss about that. So first one is under ordinary circumstances. So what are the rights? First one is when you are arrested, you simply don't go with the police. So first one is you should be informed of your crime offense. So whatever, you have all the right to ask the reason for your arrest. Second, you have to be presented before the magistrate before 24 hours. So when you are arrested, they cannot simply keep in jail. So you have to be presented before a magistrate, and reason and so everything with reason for the arrest should be explained to the magistrate, and that should happen before 24 hours. And you always have the right to consult a lawyer for your defense. In case if you are poor, the government itself grants a lawyer to defend your offense. These are the under ordinary circumstances. Second, in special circumstances, that is under preventive detention. So what's the meaning of preventive detention? Preventive detention means detention, arrest of a person without trial. Usually a person will be arrested with trial. So they give the reason why and so on, proof, and then arrest warrant. They bring arrest warrant and then they'll arrest you. But in this situation, okay, if they enforce preventive detention, you will be taken into custody without any trial, without any question. You will be simply arrested. Okay, who are arrested in this? So sometimes some noted criminals who are already noted in law in the police records. So they will be arrested in order to prevent future crimes or violence and so on. Such people, so in order to prevent any future problems, they arrest such people. That is called preventive detention. Even in this case, he or she will have certain rights. What are they? First one is the person should know that it's just a precautionary measure. That means he or she may not be an accused at all, but it's just a preventive detention, a precautionary measure, so that the person should know it. Second, the detention beyond 3 months can only, the detention should be usually for short period. It may extend up to 3 months. In case they feel that it has to be extended, that is, they feel you are a threat to the society, you may incite any violence, then it can only be extended by an advisory board. That too, it should consist an high court judge. Only then it will be extended beyond 3 months. Otherwise, you cannot be kept under detention beyond 3 months. Third, the grounds of detention must be specified and the person can make a representation of detention. So it should be, of course, should be specified to you, and you can always make a representation of your detention. Okay, limitations. So again, here also there are certain limitations. First of all, some limitations on public interest. The state or authority can refuse to disclose the reasons of detention on public interest. Sometimes the person is famous. Okay, so his arrest, sometimes if it causes any violence and so on, the state, it depends on the reasonability of the state or the authority, they can refuse to disclose the reason for the arrest. So that's the limitation. The second, power of parliament. If the parliament has the power to specify the maximum period of detention, if they decide that the person is a threat and if they want to extend, so you cannot do anything. So these are the limitations. So we'll stop here. In the next video, part 2, we'll discuss about the other rights in the coming video. Thank you.